it's Arlene from My Painter Ventures, and today's the big day for the craft room reveal. So this is what my craft room looks like after 5 weeks of the January craft room challenge. If you remember, my craft room was quite the mess, and had everything shoved in to the 2 bookshelves that you see right there. But now my craft room looks like this. Yes! Okay, so let's take a closer look at my craft space. If you guys remember, I had pretty much everything shoved into 2 bookshelves and piled on top of this tiny little craft table. And I just had a bunch of crafty crap all over it. But the reason being, and I'm going to use this as my excuse, is because I just didn't have a place to put all my craft stuff. So I'm going to show you what I did to organize my space and the things that I used. Now, one of the first problems that I had was my paints. I have a lot of it, and I didn't have a place to put everything, and so I went to Ikea and I bought these picture ledges. They're called Mosslanda, and I put them up on the wall, and they can hold about 30 regular size acrylic craft paint bottles if you double stack them like that. And they'll fit about two rows of paint. And the lower one I used for my larger bottles and paint brushes. So they're spaced out a little bit farther apart, or that one's spaced out a little farther apart than the upper 3. Just because I wanted to make sure I had space for the larger things, and I can still also, I spaced the upper shelves wide enough apart so that I can still place these larger bottles in if I needed to. So that's something to keep in mind when you're putting up paint ledges if you decide to go this route. Also, they're easy to cut. I cut one of them. They're made out of MDF. And I cut it, I drilled another hole to place it on the wall, and I just painted the edge here white. So just keep that in mind. If you are going to have to cut it, you will have to sand and paint one end. And then for stencils, I used a cafe rod and some curtain hooks to hang stencils up. And the reason I did this way was because these large stencils, they come in these really huge boxes, cardboard boxes, and they're bulky and hard to store. So this way I don't have to worry about space, and I don't have to worry about the large stencils getting bent. So I just spray painted a cafe rod and some curtain clips, and I hung them all up. Then for my other craft supplies, I stored them on my bookshelf. And what I did was, for larger, bulkier items, I used a basket that I found at a home discount store. And I would suggest, if you're buying baskets like these, to check your home discount stores first, because they're a lot less expensive than if you bought it at a retail store. Then I got a storage shelf unit from Harbor Freight, and this holds some of my smaller crafting supplies. And I like this unit because it's clear drawers, and I can see all the little crafting things that I have in each drawer without having to label it. And then I also utilize a lot of removable hooks to hang up some other crafting items. I have flocking powder and extra glitter here when I needed it. And if your items don't have holes in it, don't worry, go ahead and use these lobster clips or claw clips from your office supply area to hang up your items. And then to hold loose paper, I bought these little paper containers from Michael's. They have it at any craft store. It's basically to hold all your 12 by 12 loose scrapbooking paper. So that's what I have those in. And then dollar store shoe bins to hold other items that I separated out how I like. For my craft items, I have twine and wood slices, clothespins, and popsicle sticks organized together. So basically all the wood items are all in this shelf. And then on the bottom shelf, I have more items separated out, pipe cleaners and pom-poms, doilies, things like that. I have my picture frames and my art boards here. I also put some paper towel and cleaner here because crafting can get messy. And my binders and pens for things that I need to write down and planning. And then one of my favorite things I did was I made pegboards and I hung them on the wall for items that I use a lot and I grab a lot. It's just easier to, for me, because I'm a visual person, to grab things and put away things when I know exactly where they go and I can see them. And I can also see when things are missing, because my kids like to swipe things from my craft area. And I can quickly tell what's missing and where things go. So this just makes everything easier. Now, for the pegboard, I made these out of picture frames that I picked up at Michael's. It's that inexpensive picture frames that they always have on sale. I just popped out the backing and I had pegboard cut at Lowe's and just inserted them through the back. I glued them down and that was pretty much it. And then I hung them on the wall with 75-pound wall anchors, since I didn't have studs here. Now, if you're going to make a big pegboard and you're going to pile on the stuff, then definitely find a stud and hang up your pegboard through the stud. There's lots of videos or pegboard tutorials on Pinterest if you're going to make a big pegboard. But mine are pretty small, so the 75-pound anchor hooks hold these up pretty well. And I used little $1.30 plastic baskets from Big Lots. They came in a set of 3 for $1.30, and these just hold my washi tapes. I wouldn't recommend these for like heavy items because they're pretty flimsy and bendable, and they probably won't hold really heavy items. You'll probably have to get the metal pegboard baskets, but for tape, this works fine and it's inexpensive. For items that don't have holes in them and it's hard to hang, I actually drilled a hole through my handle of my sponge brush so I could just hang them up. It just makes it easier that way. The pails on the bottom, they're from Target, from the party section. They're $1 each and they hold all my pens and sponge brushes. Oh, and I forgot to show you the side of the bookcase. I took advantage of that too. I hung up my Silhouette machine cutting mats and scan mats. Here's my Silhouette cameo on my small little craft table that used to be filled with junk. And then this is a closer look at my sewing pegboard. It has my rulers, hoops, threads, scissors, and my measuring tape. And again, items that I couldn't hang or didn't have a hole. This one was my seam ripper. I just drilled a hole through the top and put an eye hook in it. And now I can just easily hang it up and access it quickly when I need it. And then this is the second bookshelf. I have another basket up there with just empty glass bottles and some flowers that I use for crafting. I shopped my house and grabbed this light from my son's room since he didn't want it anymore. I just changed out the light bulb to a daylight light bulb, which makes a big difference in crafting. The colors are better to work under and the light is brighter and gives you a truer daylight light color, I guess. And on this shelf here, I have just my wreath forms, just miscellaneous craft supplies. I have my mesh, my long mesh, my moss, the wood, birch wood, and on the very bottom I have my sewing stuff, which I need to sew covers for because they're going to get dusty, but that's how I store that. And then I have my cutting mat just slid in next to the wall. And I'm going to back up here. We live at the beginning of our neighborhood and across from apartments, and so a lot of people park down our street, and we get a lot of traffic. So I wanted to keep up the blinds for privacy, but it looked really ugly, so I actually hung up curtains. And because we have a outside mount blind rail, I just got these no curtain brackets that actually attach to the top of the rails, as you can see. And you can actually hang a curtain rod right in front of it. And it looks so much nicer than it did before. As you can see here, the curtain rod is, or the curtains are from Target, and they match perfectly with this tropical kind of feel that I was going for in the front room, since this is actually open to the rest of the house. And then one of my favorite things, I'm going to back up here, is my new crafting table, which I made out of an old Ikea tabletop that we had sitting in the garage. I just attached it to these cubby cubes that I bought at Big Lots with the cubby inserts. And these hold my bulkier items like styrofoam, flowers, stuffing, things like that. So that's what's in these buckets here. And it's just basically, this tabletop is literally screwed from the bottom here, from the bottom of this little cubby unit to the top, to the bottom of this tabletop. So it just basically holds it all together. And since the back side is made out of inexpensive particle board, oops, sorry about that, I just painted it brown so that you wouldn't see all that particle board when you look at it, and it just finishes off the look and looks a lot cleaner and nicer. Just something to think about if your table is out in the open and you want to finish it off. That's a nice way to do it, is just paint it. And I just got brown acrylic paint and just went right over it. And then I found these little cushions at Ross's, and the chair was from a thrift store. It's a counter height chair, because this table is about counter height, so these chairs work perfectly. So before you go shopping at your regular retail store, make sure you hit up your discount stores and your thrift stores first, because they have a lot of great items. And again, that's another look at the other side of my big craft desk, the underside. And I would like to mention that the ones that I'm showing here, those are from Amazon. They were like $15 for a set of 6. And the ones on the front here, these were from Big Lots. And I have to say that if I had to do this again, I would buy the ones off of Amazon. They're actually better quality, they're thicker, and they're cheaper. So definitely go on Amazon. My clip-on lamp did not come in yet, but I did get a craft light, clip-on light for my craft table that has daylight bulb in it, but that didn't come yet. It won't come till next month, so I don't have that to show. But I like clip-on things because I can easily move them around. Here's a stand that I use for my cell phone to either take pictures, film, or I can watch TV or watch Netflix while I'm crafting. So that's that. And then just a quick look, because this side is not finished yet, because we had a sofa here before, but I took it out because now I'm actually going to have a full craft room. This side's not done because I really wasn't going to use this side, but I decided to just, go for it. So anyway, a quick look at the entire room. And if you guys have any questions or want to know about anything else that I maybe missed, just let me know and I will try to address it. Just leave it in the comments below. And that's that.